unsurprised by a very fast 2-0 victory from Milton Figueroa.
Also, Zealous Persecution might not be a bad option there on the sideboard for him, but it depends. Like I said, we'll see. Or does he come back with the Meekstone again?
Well, I mean, Meekstone actually doesn't do very much to Milton Figueroa because Elish Norn has Vigilance, so it'll be able to survive. Gristlebrand he can use just to draw the cards and push on through, so he doesn't care. Jin-Gataxi is the same thing. Then the Angel of Despair will just destroy it.
Yeah.
So pretty much what it boils down to is there is Meekstone, but so what?
Okay, well, we'll see what Sam does here. Both these gentlemen, very relaxed. Last round looking at Legacy, we talked about it. This is round 12 of 16 of the SCG Invitational. Thank you for joining us today on SCGLive.com. We really appreciate you watching today. It is just like, this is like, what about the midway point of our coverage this weekend?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I had some fun talking with the coverage staff over on the side. Apparently, me and Lauren Lee and Ruben Bressler, we are all declared for the Simic Guild. And Sam Black, he is also of the Simic Guild. He is the 3rd highest rated Simic player according to the Planeswalker Guild system. And of course the leader of our guild is Martin Juza. So if you want to be a part of Team Simic, you should just go ahead, go to your Planeswalker points page for Wizards.com and declare for Simic. Now, a little word to the wise for all of you who have a lot of Planeswalker points. The Golgari, you could be the highest rated Golgari if you hopped on it, if you've got enough Planeswalker points.
All right, let's see what happens here. Sam looking through his options.
Sam's Walking Dead deck is base black, but touches into red and white. Red for Faithless Looting, and white for Lingering Souls.
All right, Milton's ready to go.
You can see far behind Milton's shoulder, V-Ben Sec, checking out the match up close in the matches behind there.
He drops with his Faithless Looting and throws 2 Lingering Souls into the graveyard.
Wow, but that is with an Undiscovered Paradise, so Sam will not be able to cast the Lingering Souls with flashback next turn, since the Undiscovered Paradise will return to his hand.
Still, if you're Sam, you're very pleased throwing 2 Lingering Souls in the graveyard this early in the game.
Well, if he knows what Milton Figueroa is playing, he actually is probably in pretty bad shape. Because essentially, he did not much of anything against a deck that could instantly have a tutor that stops everything. So Milton Figueroa, he is a Puerto Rican player.
Oh, there's Inquisitive Kozilek by Milton.
What you got left, Sam? Who will know?
Yes.
And we see Cabal Therapy, Blood Artist, Goblin Bombardment.
Land.
I take that Therapy.
Because Blood Artist really isn't going to do much.
Well, neither of those other spells are going to be able to be cast next turn.
No.
The Undiscovered Paradise is returning to Sam Black's hand.
All right, let's see what he does here. Looks like he has Ponder. Okay, he does take the Cabal Therapy, as expected here by my partner Adrian Sullivan.
And Milton passes the turn back.
Card goes back to his hand. Sam drew, ironically, he did draw a Cabal Therapy.
Right off the top. Sam is going to want to try to get rid of a way that Milton would get a card into the graveyard. Does he hit? Oh, he goes for the Brainstorm just for like the general fixing. I see Animate Dead, Ponder, Careful Study, and is that, yeah, another Animate Dead. Or is that Reanimate? I actually really don't know. That's an alternate art on either end for Milton Figueroa. Yeah. It looks like it's 1 black. If we get a close-up on that, we can try to see what that alternate art is. Or if you, in the Twitterverse, recognize that art, I know that that is not art I know off the top of my head. So tweet to us, at SCG Live. What are those 2 cards there on either end? I think it might be Reanimate, maybe?
He did draw the Elish Norn. Okay, it looks like he's going to play a ponder here. See what he finds.
Okay, that is Animate Dead. So my initial belief that it was Animate Dead was correct, but it looked to me like it had just a single black casting cost, so I was second guessing myself.
Yes. Thank you for your help out there in the Twitterverse. Always appreciated. And again, thank you for tuning in to SCG Live throughout the coverage throughout the entire weekend here. All right, Sam next turn could activate the Lingering Souls from his graveyard. Milton draws. Grizzlebrand. He now has Grizzlebrand, Elishnorn in his hand. He just needs to get them to the graveyard, and with the Animate Deads, things become a lot more fun for him quickly.
Yep. Next turn, it should be happening. See the careful study here. Gives him a careful study, and it looked like another land.
Ponder.
Oh, was it a ponder?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that. Discards a Gristlebrand and an Elishnorn.
Okay, Sam brings out the Lingering Souls. And sacrifices for Cabal Therapy. Naming Animate Dead. And both those go away. But he still does have Ponder in his hand to be able to go out and search for another engine to be able to get to it. All right. Sam sacrifice again, naming Ponder to make sure it cuts him off all engine from potentially going out and finding what he needs. Sam doing everything he can to shut down that engine as quickly as humanly possible.
Milton needs to get some sort of reanimation here, and then the game will basically shut down. Sam trying to hold that back, but really has very little in the way of threats to bring to the table on this.
Okay, Sam cracks a land.
Like, his fastest kill is still fairly slow, and Milton has a lot of time to do something.
It is one of the advantages of Milton has in this situation, is that because Sam's black is not fast like goblins or mono red or anything like that, it helps him a lot. Gives him a tremendous advantage to be able to take his time and be patient. Okay, he will flash back the Lingering Souls. And Gravecrawler. Nelson looking for anything to help speed up that engine. Okay, looks like another Grizzlebrand. And potentially a land there, I believe. No. Oh, a Jin Gataskus.
Milton is a 3-moon ponder kind of guy.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Soon enough that Jin Gataskus will be the one that he will want to get rid of that.
Now, faithful Sam Black fans will recognize this list. There are very few ways for Sam to deal with a creature that hits play. He has one main deck Tragic Slip, and he has Goblin Bombardment. Done. That's what he's got for creatures.
Okay, there goes the Jataxis.
And that's an Entomb as well. Milton passes the turn. Sam has 4 power on the table. And look at that. There is a Goblin Bombardment. Blood Artist.
Oh, Sculler.
Oh, sorry, Tide Hollow Sculler. I saw, like, there goes the Careful Study. Wow, Sam has just been picking Milton apart here.
He's used every card he's had from both Cabal Therapies, using his Lingering Souls as sacrificial things to be able to get the cards out of his hand. Very well played.
And Goblin Bombardment. He can now deal 4 damage at will.
Okay,
Inquisition is going to take that. I believe there's a Blood Artist in Sam's hand.
Yes, there is.
There it is. That's actually super incredibly huge. That Blood Artist basically doubled the value of the Goblin Bombardment.
You know, you had to wonder, he had to make the decision of which one he was going to go with. And going with Goblin Bombardment seemed like a safe idea at the moment.
I think that was absolutely the right call. He's like, you're dead. Check this out. I got my Tide Hollow Sculler. It's a zombie. I'm dealing 1 to you. I'm going to cast the Gravecrawler 4 more times, dealing 4 more to you, and then I've got 3 more creatures. Dead, dead, dead. On the nose. That was 0.
That was exceptionally well played by Sam Black in a situation where you talked about at the start of the match that Milton easily could have won, should have won, potentially won this match 2-0.
Well, I think that's if this match were to play out a bunch of times, that's what often will happen. Now, one thing Sam said at the very beginning of this tournament is that he kind of mirrored what people say about Infect that play Infect. Like Chris Van Meter said this in Standard yesterday, that people think they know what they're going to have to face, and then you show them that they're wrong. So Sam, taking advantage of the fact that, you know, not only are many of his cards unusual, but you don't necessarily know just how much can hit you there. Milton clearly was not expecting to be dead.
No, there's no way about that. So what does Milton do? Where is Milton going here?
I think Milton's probably still happy. He's got 2 Coffin Purge that he can bring in from the sideboard, which are very, very reasonable. And I don't know if he does anything besides that.
Okay.
The way his deck is set up, it's ready for a deck like Sam Black's. Coffin Purge can maybe stop things like Gravecrawler shenanigans, Lingering Souls if they aren't cast immediately, or any other graveyard card that isn't cast immediately.
And Sam will be bringing in the Leyline of the Void.
He's only got 1 Leyline of the Void, so it's not like he can count on it.
A card that will not probably see play today, or in this match, Shriekmaw. I mean, there's an old classic card.
It's a cool one. It's definitely a cool one.
Yeah. One of my favorites from back in the day.
Now, Milton has to be kind of feeling pretty stung by this match. He had the Animate Dead, and Sam Black, Cabal Therapy, take that out of there. Remember, Milton took away the Cabal Therapy, the first one, with a well-placed discard spell. Sam Black just had another one, though, that he grabbed off the top.
Yep.
And that just right there was the game. That basically surprise extra therapy.
Yes, again, we've been seeing that a lot this weekend. A lot of top decking that's come through and has really helped out players in the time need. Shows that sometimes even the best players in the world get a little lucky once in a while. Pull those top deck draws, as they like to say.
Well, I was talking with Bob Maher about some of the things like, oh, get a little lucky, you know, yada, yada, yada. And he was talking about the coverage of the Players' Championship and how, you know, some of the people that were commentating were like, oh, you know, Finkel got really lucky to get this. And Bob was like, he set up for that for 3 turns, you know? But the thing is at the highest level of the game, and Sam is certainly one of the top players in the world right now. At the highest level in the game, yes, there is an element of drawing that card you need, but setting yourself up for those possibilities, that is a measure of skill. You know, the classic victory long ago in New Orleans of Kai Buddha in Masters, and I think about 2002, people were like, wow, how could he win that? It was a top deck. Wow, amazing. But you know what? He sculpted the game so that that possibility was there.
Yes. Well, you look at what just Sam did in the beginning. Faithless Looting puts both the Lingering Souls in the graveyard, allows them to be able to use them as outlets, to be able to use the Cabal Therapies to their maximum ability. I mean, what a tremendous advantage that was for him. Really, really well played. Great start for him. Still plenty of time, 38 minutes to go in this round.
For those of you who are just joining us, we just had Sam Black defeat Milton Figueroa here in this round 12 match. And it came off of the back, Cabal Therapy's Lingering Souls disrupting Milton Figueroa before he could assemble, essentially, an unstoppable Elish Norn. Elish Norn, Sam has no answers in the main deck for, other than one Tragic Slip. Sideboarded, a few more, 2 Go for the Throat.
And potentially an Oblivion Ring, but still.
Oh, yeah, good point. O-Ring is in there as well.
Especially when we come to next round, and we're racing to the final 4 games. You've been there. How much pressure are these people going to be under now? That once they get through Legacy, a lot of people are more comfortable in Standard and playing Legacy. How much pressure now is there going to be making it? Because you know now where you're standing, how close you are to potentially making it.
I mean, the way that pressure affects people is so radically different. Some people really step it up when they get under pressure. Some people, they crumble, and some people, they stay, cool as a cucumber. Sam Black, for example, he's a Madison player. I'm a Madison player. I've known Sam for many years. I don't think he's somebody that steps it up or crumbles. He plays his game, match in, match out, and that he's just always been very even-keeled. Tries to play as good as he can the whole time. Inquisition for Milton Figueroa.
Okay, there's the Sculler right away, and a Faithless Looting, and a Gravecrawler, and a Bloodghast. 2 Faithless Looting. Excellent. 2 lands. So if you're him, which one do you go with? He's got 2 Faithless Lootings already. Sculler?
I think you want to get that Sculler out of there.
Okay.
Alternately, if you're a little bit worried about it, you could take the Gravecrawler, knowing that it'll come back later if you think that the rest of it will just be too slow. But generally speaking, the Sculler is the interactive card. I would get rid of it. So is it a question of speed or of disruption? Okay. He goes, let's let you have a little less interaction, Sam.
Right. Sam draws. Looks like he drew another land. Here comes the Gravecrawler.
It's a 10-turn clock, but he's going to add to that fairly quickly.
Yes, Bloodghast coming out next turn. All right. Nelson now has 3 lands in his hand, or Milton has 3 lands in his hand.
He's got a Bloodghast of his own.
Wow.
Now, Bloodghast, it's very interesting because I think it's primarily going to be there as like an alternate path. So maybe what Milton Figueroa did is he changed into a Delver deck. Is that a Snapcaster in his hand?
Yes.
Wow, I think he changed it up. I think he was like, oh, this is a player with black spells. They're going to have good anti-graveyard hate. Sam's anti-graveyard cards are not that great.
No.
This is the thing about playing a rogue deck. You can really get people to not necessarily be aware of what your deck will do throughout the course of a match.
You know, Milton, if he gets a chance to relook at this deck, you wonder if he's going to wonder, oh, drew a Tidal Sculler anyways. You wonder if he's going to go back and reflect on this deck if he gets to look at Sam's deck and go, maybe I shouldn't have done that. There is the Snapcaster Mage.
And Sam, looking at Snapcaster, Angel, that's an Angel of Despair. Yeah. And I can't see that last card just below the Snapcaster. I'm not quite sure what that one is.
I believe that was a land. Oh, no,
like
a Snapcaster? Oh, no, it was a spell.
Yeah, I can't quite see.
Could have been the alternate art. Animate Dead. And Sam takes away the Animate Dead. But it's going to be interesting because it takes it... Because if he can get rid of that Sculler...
That's Entomb.
Oh, it's Entomb, okay.
Yes.
Sam swings in for 2.
Yeah, that's a Graveborn Entomb. Yeah, the alternate art cards, I don't know very many of the alternate art cards. I like the classic art cards, so careful study.
There goes the Angel of Despair. And what else will he throw in there? He throws in...
To be fair, pardon me, the Entomb is the same art either way. My Entombs are altered.
Oh, well, there you go.
Animate Dead on Angel of Despair, hits the Tide Hollow Scholar, retrieves the Entomb, and the Bloodghast comes on in.
Faithless Looting.
Yeah, my Entombs are all altered from Pro Tour Osaka a million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we see a Bloodghast amongst the cards discarded. The other's a Swamp. Land. Back comes the Bloodghast. Milton Figueroa is not bloodied enough for the Bloodghast to be able to attack.
Angel of Despair is really going to put a cramp in Sam's plans right here. He needs to draw. Wow. He needs that O-ring.
And we see Dark Confidant for Sam Black. From the sideboard, one of 3 Dark Confidants. That seems completely reasonable. Just trying to keep yourself with some fuel. You've got a lot of cards that can disrupt, and the cards are largely interchangeable. I mean, Sam does not need to do things with Carrion Feeder necessarily. Oh, that's not so fun. We know the Entomb was there. What will happen? Milton Figueroa has some interesting cards. He actually has cards like Crippling Fatigue and Deep Analysis. Look at that Dark Blast. That's a pretty good one. He gets Dark Blast and puts it into the graveyard. Technically, in this format, that Dark Blast is under the Entomb, but it's not going to matter.
He's got, I think he has Snapcaster in his hand to help with that, so... All right.
The Kurt Hans of the world out there will be like shuddering at that graveyard, but okay, we see the Dark Blast return to hand, and then smack, take that, Dark Confidant. In for 7. Neither of Sam's creatures can block.
He's going to Faithless Loot again, it looks like here.
Yep, he's looking for something to change the situation. Go for the throat.
Go
for the throat. That ain't bad. That angel has a throat.
It would slow him down a little bit. Well, he's deciding what he wants to get rid of.
There's Cabal Therapy amongst those cards. This is a tough call.
Oh,
and he gets rid of 1 Go for the Throat and a Cabal Therapy. He wants to keep his Undiscovered Paradise so that he has a perpetual Bloodghast. He sacrifices the Bloodghast to the Cabal Therapy to name a card. He knows what it is. It's Snapcaster Mage. Goodbye, Snappy. Lays the Undiscovered Paradise, returns the Bloodghast, and is now going to perhaps go for the throat on that Angel of Despair. And he goes, should I tap my Undiscovered Paradise? Yeah, let's do it.
Return it back to his hand, yep. But now, as we know, Sam has no more Go for the Throats available to him, as now both of them are in the graveyard.
Now, Milton is trying to consider whether he wants to bring back Dark Blast, and he does. And goodbye 3 cards. Land, Reanimate. In with his own Bloodghast. Gravecrawler is what he's looking at, perhaps Dark Blasting here.
Oh, he just said, did he just say go? He just said go.
Nothing wrong with that. Got an instant. There's the Oblivion Ring Sam draws there, and we're going to see Gravecrawler die. 2 damage. Milton's at 12. And we have an O-Ring. Boom. Take that, Bloodghast. Milton, now playing off the top of the deck, draws a Ponder. All lands. Goodbye hand, or goodbye cards.
So Sam did bring in the O-Ring. Both go for the throats, and at least one of the Dark Confidants for sure.
Oh, almost certainly all three.
All three, and then so then he brought in Leyland of the Void then right away too.
Milton Figueroa.
Pass his turn.
He draws his card from Ponder and says go. Sam with 2 land. Faithless Looting in the Yard to flash back. He does it. I think that's a Thoughtseize he's found. And a Pithing Needle, perhaps?
Ooh.
I think Pithing Needle to name Gristlebrand is the usual reason he has that.
He does have to discard 2 of them. One of them will be the other land, but...
I think he's going to discard both of the non-Undiscovered Paradise lands.
Okay.
If that's correct that he has 3 lands and a Pithing Needle. Pithing Needle. Okay, Thoughtseize was the other card. So it was land, Thoughtseize, Undiscovered Paradise.
Okay.
In for 2. And he says go.
Untaps his land. Milton draws.
Figueroa looking for something to do here.
Asked him, I think.
How many cards?
Yes.
2? That's a lot. What's that do? It keeps coming back. I was thinking about Mainspray's Brainstorm.
Looks
Is that
like
a Snapcaster as well?
Yeah. Snapcaster Brainstorm?
Well, I think he can just run the Snapcaster at whatever time he feels is appropriate.
Snapcaster using it for Ponder, or...
There's lots of cards he can do.
Yeah.
Reanimate. He's got enough of life there. If he's got any reasonable creature.
He has the Angel of Despair in there.
Yep, there it is. So he could go Snapcaster, Reanimate, lose quite a bit of life, but that might be okay. Kill the Oblivion Ring.
And allow
have
him
a
to swing
Bloodghast come back, and that Bloodghast swings immediately.
Well, let's see what he does. Okay, Snapcaster.
Now, Reanimate does life loss for the casting cost, so this is going to be a heavy blow.
But to get his creature back.
Boom.
Yep.
Kills the Oblivion Ring. Back comes the Bloodghast. Sam is bloodied, so that Bloodghast can attack.
That will take Sam to 6.
Yeah. The term bloodied is the unofficial keyword for less than 10 life, or 10 life or less, which many cards triggered off of at that moment. Is that a Goblin Bombardment? It's pretty good. It's not great, but pretty good. Let's see. The Goblin Bombardment means that Sam Black can live this turn. What he can do is lay the Goblin Bombardment, kill the Snapcaster Mage, lay the Undiscovered Paradise, bring back his Bloodghast, and then actually be really in trouble because he then has no way to answer the Angel of Despair in his deck. All of the cards that he uses to answer those cards are all in the graveyard.
Yeah, Milton down to 3. Wow.
Okay, actually, that's pretty close too. But he needs to be defensive, unfortunately. He doesn't have enough life.
Swing.
Attack, he has to hope that Milton... Well, Milton's not going to take it. He's going to block with something.
Snapcaster, right? Or even Snapcaster wouldn't matter, the Angel.
Whatever Milton blocks with.
Yeah.
Okay, after Milton blocks with the Angel, he kills Snapcaster, says go. Okay, the actual thing is Sam can survive this turn, and Milton is going to be required to leave a blocker back in order to deal with that Bloodghast. So it's actually kind of funny. Because of his low life total, he can't attack unless this Brainstorm shows him something really good. Look at that look on Milton's face. He's like, ugh, really?
I should have had this one won already. What is going on here?
And a card like Dark Blast being in the yard, though, means he is protected from the danger that the Bloodghast attacking represents. Sam can do... Wait, Bloodghast blocking.
Interesting.
Bloodghast can't
Cannot block.
Cannot block.
Oh, Goblin Bombardment he used.
Oh, okay. He bombarded it. That's better. It looked like he was blocking the way he showed it. I was like, he can poke it, but it looked like he blocked.
Okay, brings it back, swings.
Dredge with one of these brainstorms. Gets the Dark Blast. 2 more draws. They all go to his hand. 2 cards are pushed back. Milton then pokes the Bloodghast, which Sam uses to do 1 damage to Milton. And it actually, is Milton dead? Because of, Oh, no, this is Sam's turn.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite have enough.
Faithless Looting.
He's looking for a creature here.
Tragic Slip.
No, he needed to get a Bloodghast.
Oh, yeah.
Or some other card that could come into play. Like a 1-drop of any kind. A Gravecrawler. Because... It was really close there.
Yep.
Sam was able to get Milton effectively to 1 life there, but couldn't quite get over that last little bit.
And now we are to game 3 between Sam Black and Milton Figueroa. We are in round 11 of the SCG Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Robert Martin, joined in the booth by Adrian Sullivan.
Hello, hello.
Second to last round of Legacy. Actually, this is the last round of Legacy, right? Yeah. We'll see what happens here with game 3. I see Todd Anderson in the background. He was another player that was doing quite well at the beginning of the day. He was in 33rd place at the beginning of the day. So everybody thinks that the commentators, when they take breaks, you know, they're taking breaks and stuff like that. Ben Seck up there watching the coverage, paying attention to what's going on.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I often do in between rounds is I go around and I do the same thing Ben's doing, or also sometimes I sit down and play games with people to get a sense of how certain decks are playing. You know, I bring Magic decks with me to all of these events so that I can sit down, play some Magic, see what a deck looks like, and say, huh, that's actually pretty surprising. I didn't realize that Phyrexian Obliterator did this in your deck. I'm just using that as an odd example.
Yes. All right, both are still sideboarding. Excuse me. So, game 3, Sam is on the play. How important is it for Sam to be on the play this round?
It's huge. I mean, we've talked about this before about how being on the play matters a lot, and it matters more for some decks than others. And a part of the reason that it does is when you've got a format where things like Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek, Cabal Therapy, in other decks, cards like Goblin Lackey, or even something like Mother of Runes, or for that matter, like, let's say, Delver of Secrets, right? All of these 1-drops are so much more powerful on the draw.
All right.
Sorry, on the play.
On the play, yes. We still have plenty of time left in the round. There's about 19 minutes to go in the round. Sam's still thinking. Looks like he's made another change to what he wanted to put in. Took out 2 cards. For those of you joining us, this is round 11 of the SCG Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Robert Martin, joined in the booth by Adrian Sullivan.
Hello, everybody.
And we are seeing game 3 between Milton Figueroa and Sam Black. Reanimator versus Walking Dead. A little bit of fun. A lot of great cards in this deck. Milton Figueroa's main board with Angel of Despair, which we've seen last game really make a huge difference in the match. Elish Norn, Platinum Imperium, Grizzlebrand, Iona, and Jingataxis, who went into the graveyard game one, did not have a chance to come out and play. Ended up bringing in the Snapcaster Mage and the one Bloodghast he had in the sideboard. So, very interesting to see what he has coming up. Sam, as you know, last time brought in the Oblivion Ring. Both go for the throats. Probably all 3 Dark Confidence, like we said earlier, and that Leyline of the Void.
So an interesting thing that I find kind of shocking is we've gotten to a point in Legacy where we have a deck that takes up 20% of the metagame. Now, in times past, if you broke the 15% margin, that was a huge portion of the metagame. 2 decks have done it, and that is Rug Delver and Countertop. Both decks slightly over that 15% margin. Countertop decks at 16% of the metagame. Rug Delver, 20% of the metagame. In Legacy, that is huge. In Standard, that would be a fairly represented deck. But in Legacy, that's an incredible representation. If you look at the pie chart that's available on StarCityGames.com in the metagame breakdown that was provided by Lauren Lee, you can see that full breakdown. I'm going to tweet that to everybody out there in the Twitter sphere, but wow, it's some awesome stuff to see how these things break down, particularly when you see something like the Death's Shadow deck being a 5% of the metagame.
Well, that's thanks to Jerry T. I believe both him and Brad Nelson was potentially playing that too, if I'm not correct, because I believe what Brad said is he was playing what Jerry was playing. So it's always very good to be that good of a deck builder, to have lots of people follow your lead. And speaking of one of those deck builders, Sam Black plays land, Inquisition. We see Brainstorm, we see land, we see Snapcaster Mage. I believe a Thoughtseize. Okay, yeah, there's the Brainstorm, the planes. Reanimate Dead.
Entomb, yay. Those foils do make it harder to see the cards.
Brainstorm. Taking away his ability to search up more stuff and more land, because right now he's currently only at 1 land.
This is something that often happens with the Reanimator deck. It really pushes into the low land count. 18 land is common. Milton is not going away from that. He only has 18.
Okay, turn 2. Tidewall Sculler. Oh, that's the Sphinx of the Foon there that he had there in his hand.
A quick shout out to James Fazzolari. I'm probably saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. Watching us from Australia. We've got people from all over the world that are watching. So if you are wanting to see what it's like to have a worldwide audience, make sure you get down to the next Invitational in mere 3 months.
Well, it's great to see that you have a worldwide audience with people all over the place watching.
Yep.
A lot of our friends, if you want to call it worldwide, even from Canada, are watching this weekend.
Yep.
Dan Lanthier, Pro Tour player.
Yep.
Shouted out earlier that he was glad to see the coverage.
We got a Sculler coming on in. It has a Snapcaster Mage hiding underneath it. 2 damage.
I like that Sculler that way. Snapcaster, yeah, I like that. That works for me. All
and
right.
Cabal Therapy. He's already seen Milton's hand. He knows what to name. What's he going to name? Let's find out.
Oh, thanks to all you people watching right now on SCGLive.com. Currently over 5,600 viewers right now watching the event.
Boom, look at that. Double hit. 2 entombs to the yard. And Sam here is just tearing Milton's hand up. This is his basic plan.
Yeah. Milton has nothing but blue mana. That's it right now. Out comes Bloodghast. Wow. But this is almost the exact same thing that happened game 1. Yep. Sam Black got the cards out there, got the ability to get the cards out of his hand.
Yep. You know, Sam needed a little bit of luck there in game 1. He needed to get a top deck. And in this game, he did not need that luck so much because Milton had the bad luck for him. He didn't have the black mana.
He's still without any other mana but blue. Okay, he swings in for 4. That'll take Milton to 14.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Robert Martin. You can see Sam Black on the right using his Walking Dead deck to try to tear up Milton Figueroa's Reanimator, flashing back a Cabal Therapy, bringing a Gravecrawler into the yard. Countries out there, we got Portugal, Colombia, Italy, Poland, Norway. Thank you for everyone all the way out there. I hope that my friend Gregor is watching out there too. If you are, hey Gregor.
It's a great way to share Magic when you can share it across the world.
Oh,
shows you that Magic is just truly a global game.
Look at that, crippling fatigue. And now the clock is at 6. This is a 3-turn clock at worst.
Another Cabal Therapy in his hand.
Ah.
It just gets better for Sam.
Boom.
Yep.
Reanimate, and we see Sphinx of Umthun, Deep Analysis, and Crippling Fatigue.
He has got to draw something else. Oh, well.
That's a black mana. Is it too little too late? I think it might be.
He takes 6 next turn for sure. Oh, that's the Bombardier, I believe, if I'm not correct.
The Goblin Bombardment after combat, and you're dead. Sam Black takes down Milton Figueroa 2-1. I consider that kind of an upset, but, you know, I'm betting that Milton Figueroa's friends down in Puerto Rico are pretty unhappy about that. They've got a really animated player base down there. If you were watching the World Magic Cup like I was, you saw how well that they were doing. And it's funny because after the World Magic Cup, there were definitely a couple of people who were like, why does the USA have 2 teams? Because officially Puerto Rico is, you know, considered a part of the United States.
Yes, it is.
You know, if you're a Puerto Rican player, of course, for you, you're like, I'm a Puerto Rican.
Yep.
You know?